So, what is Microsoft Copilot?
AI-powered technology, fully integrating into the Microsoft suite. There's thousands and thousands of use cases people haven't even thought of yet. Even the developers haven't thought of the ways that people are going to use it.
So how does Copilot differ from other AI tools like ChatGPT?
Because it is only accessing your Microsoft tenancy. Anything that you're putting into ChatGPT is available for the whole world to see.
The fact that Copilot is constrained, you've got that assurance.
You are going to get the human element of, I've always done it this way and I'm not going to change. We're all resistant to change until you realise, blimey, this has made my life easier. And we all want an easier life.
Hello, welcome to the Cantium Podcast in partnership with Public Sector Focus. My name is Marc Milne. I'm a lead account architect with Cantium, and I'm here with Ian Hill from Arrow, who's a cloud business development manager. Today, we'll be discussing Copilot, its benefits, and how you and your organization can be Copilot ready. So, Ian, I guess the first question is, what is Microsoft Copilot?
Yeah, so Copilot is the latest technology from Microsoft, which is AI-powered technology, fully integrating into the Microsoft suite of products. And really, it helps you manage your day-to-day. And it's all about making life easier for the user. So the mundane tasks, automating repetitive tasks, eliminating human error, and being more and more efficient with your time.
So where have you seen Copilot make the biggest impact so far? I guess it's about cranking the handle on that routine stuff much more efficiently.
Absolutely. So, producing reports with the up-to-date information. If you set the parameters, Copilot will go off and run any report that you want it to based on the data that is available. And the data, I know, is something we'll touch on later, but the better the data, the better the outcomes. And it means that people who are doing repetitive tasks, but those tasks can be different in some ways, Copilot can take a lot of the grunt, if you like, from that manual process. So already, if you take automated reporting, for example, public organizations are using Copilot already to help with the daily reporting, the manual tasks that can take a long time, even though the report is very, very similar to the last one they did. So you can automate the process and Copilot can get you that information in a more quickly, timely, a more accurate manner. Therefore, you can get more reports done in a shorter space of time, being more productive. And also, data insights. So by analyzing complex data sets, if you've got, we all live in spreadsheets. So if you've got a large spreadsheet with multi-tabs, you can ask Copilot to analyze that data and bring out salient points from that data set. So sales by quarter, by person, trending analysis on things like calls coming into service desks. What's the hottest topic? What are most people complaining about? Drafting policy papers, letters, minutes of meetings, which is, I think it could be a week before the minutes come round from the previous meeting. So having Copilot summarize that meeting and call out the key points and in effect then send an email to the people, even before you've left the building to actually, summarize the meeting and call out the key points for people. So very, very powerful.
Absolutely. Transcription and minute production.
Yes.
It has certainly transformed the project offices of a couple of customers that I'm aware of. As you say, it's gone from minutes and actions coming out a week later to same day. And in a lot of cases, it really helps reinforce what's occurred during that meeting, decisions made. And it's mostly automated.
Yes. And like most humans, you forget stuff. So having the transcript running and asking Copilot to, summarize that transcript is very, very powerful stuff. You can also ask it to, schedule follow-up tasks. So if there is a task on a particular person to produce something back by a certain time, they can get prompts and reminders in their calendar. And also communications. Microsoft have some very powerful, captioning capabilities. So you can be delivering the same message to multiple languages and having a transcript in the individual language for the person there. So that is all built in. It's all part of the AI, and it's all available.
Yeah, it's fantastic for certainly multinational companies. And when you get down to organizations like local authorities, they're responsible for delivering services to multilingual audiences.
And schools as well. So if you've got a class with 15 different languages, then the teacher can deliver the same lesson to multi languages, and that is very powerful without having to go back and do it all again. So, and I think overall with Copilot, it's one of those things that the more you use it, the more you think, I wonder if it can. I wonder if it can. So I think a lot of the use cases are still being formed. I don't think it's where it's going to end up. I think it's going to be morphing all the while. Somebody said to me, at the moment, it's like a 2 or 3 year old. It's running around everywhere doing lots of things. But as it gets older and as it gets more mature and as it understands how you interact with it as an individual, the more it learns to respond to you. Like in emails, for example, it will know that if you respond to a certain user with a "Hi Pete," as opposed to a "Dear Sir," will use that same vernacular. So it's very clever in that respect.
So to kind of follow on from that, where does Copilot fit into your workflow?
For me personally, I'm using it. I was out of the office yesterday, and on the train, I was logged into Teams. And I hit the Copilot icon, and it gives me options as to, would you like to summarize yesterday's Teams messages that you missed out on? And it'll do that for me without me having to go and trawl through and try and work out what's important. Taking a lot of the, as I said earlier, the grunt out of these tasks, it makes you a lot more efficient, and you get more done. Microsoft's tag is do more with less.
I certainly could have done with it coming back off leave after a week. Mailbox summary alone is kind of worth its weight in gold.
And prioritize what's the most important. Who's shouting loudest?
Yeah,
and that's very good stuff.
Absolutely,
because you can miss things.
Yeah, I understand Copilot can help organizations manage their customer communications.
Yes, if you've got a communication you want to go out to customer about something that is hot off the press. You can ask Copilot to go and find the relevant information, and then you can ask it to put out, put this out in the form of a press release. Or one of the things that I find most useful is building a presentation. For me, that is the worst thing. I'm not a creative person at all. What Copilot, you can have a Word document and say, Copilot, could you build me a presentation based on the content in this Word document? And it will go away and it will come back with some ideas, and it will come back with a look and feel, and it'll even draft you speaker notes. And then there's different design options that you can apply to it. You can say, bring me in a picture of an elephant for this particular slide, and it will go and do it for you, without you having to go and search and right click and copy and paste and all that. It'll just do it. And it's very, very intuitive. As I said, the more you use it, the more you interact with it, the more it's going to understand how you ask it things, and how it will bring back the relevant answers. The trick is, if you've got a complicated ask, break it down into bite-sized chunks. Otherwise, you will confuse it.
Yeah, I guess it's a two-way street. You're training it and you're learning from it how best to utilize it.
Yeah. And think about what you want back from it before you ask the question. What is my desired sort of answer? What is it that I want?
Yeah, I guess one of the key objectives in any organization successfully using Copilot is going to be overcoming the magic bullet syndrome.
Yeah.
It's not going to cure all your ills. It's not going to do all of your work for you. It'll do 80% of the grunt work.
Yeah. I think the most successful deployments, and we did it as a business at Arrow, is we didn't just let everybody have it. We had a sort of pilot group, if you like. We had people in finance, in marketing, me in sales, technical people, and we were given a license, and we had to feed back, what were you doing with it this week? How did it help you? How much time have you saved? And the emphasis is a lot on time saving and how more productive have you been? I'm terrible. I'll go into a meeting and I'll waffle along and I won't take notes. And, half an hour later, the phone rings and you're distracted. And, having the ability, as we touched on earlier, to, have a transcript of the meeting you've had and be able to summarize that meeting. And while you're sat in the car planning your next journey, actually fire off an email saying, thanks for the meeting. Here are the key points covered. Here are the next actions. That is very, very good. And it makes you look better. And it actually gives you the detail of what you were talking about, because most of the time you can't sort of remember. If you try in a 2-hour meeting, you try and remember all of it and try and keep up scribbling notes. It's virtually impossible. So from that point of view, it is very, 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 very good.
So to build on your point about piloting Copilot within your own organization, how would you recommend other organizations approach deploying the tool?
It's for the people who are doing the repetitive tasks, but doing a lot of similar type things on a regular basis. It is invaluable. So to get the right people evaluating the right elements of it, I think is good. And then you can you get this feedback loop that goes on, and then the business can get an idea as to, the best way to deploy it. And okay, do we need to train the users on how to do this? Because if you just give it to people and say, there you go, you're not going to get the best out of it. So I think firstly, is it right for the business? Yes. How are we going to benefit as a business from using this? And then how do we train our people to make the most use of it? And then if you get into that environment where people are working closely together, utilizing this, it's sort of sparking off ideas as well. As I said earlier, I wonder if it could do this. Let's give that a try. It then becomes, it's sort of our tool, and it's something we can use rather than another piece of technology.
Building tribes, as Microsoft likes to do.
Absolutely. And always we find get some champions within the business. So if you've got somebody in sales, let them be the sales champion and let them talk to their colleagues about how I use it. And you get the buy-in then because it's real world examples. Some of my customers have said, blimey, you must have Copilot because you never used to do this before. But it keeps a record, and that is documented and you can call upon it. So if you're going to see a person you haven't seen for a year, or 6 months, you can say, Copilot, can you summarize the last meeting we had and what has changed from their point of view in terms of, have there been any mergers and acquisitions or such like? So it can go out to the web and look for things for specific organizations, but it can also it will delve into your Microsoft tenancy to get the relevant information and the most up-to-date information and pertinent information.
Excellent. I mean, as I've said before, I've seen it deployed in, funny enough, project and program practices as the first step. And it's the old adage, if you want something done quickly, give it to a busy person. And PMs are some of the busiest people in any organization, and they will absolutely take advantage of those capabilities.
Absolutely.
So how does Copilot differ from other AI tools like ChatGPT?
Copilot differs from ChatGPT because it is looking at your data, your company's data. So it only accessing your Microsoft tenancy, your SharePoint, your OneDrive, where your documents are stored and your information is held. ChatGPT goes off to the internet. So anything that you're putting out there, you're putting into ChatGPT is available for the whole world to see. So that is the main difference, is that it's confined to you and your documents and your data, But you've got Copilot for the web, which will go off, and if it's something external, it can go and bring in other information from external sources. But it's looking at your data.
Yeah. I guess that's a key point for a lot of organizations who are dealing with sensitive data. The fact that Copilot is constrained to your Microsoft environment, to your M365 service area of delivery. So for things like GDPR, you've got that assurance, you've got that certification.
Yeah, and you have, and you are being compliant. If your estate is compliant, then Copilot will be bringing the right information. This does lead on to another whole topic, though, of it's the rubbish in, rubbish out. So if you are asking, Copilot, build me a proposal based on the information we have on XYZ organization, and the data you have is 8 years old, then it's not going to produce something that's meaningful. So, a big part of Copilot adoption is be ready, get your data ready, get your rights management tools in place, make sure the right people have the right access to the right documents at the right time, because it will bring back what you ask it. And if that information is unprotected, so things like, salaries, personal identifiable information, if that's not locked down in the right sort of way with the right sort of policies, Copilot can be a bit of a blunt instrument, and it will find it. If it's allowed to find it based on who is asking for it, it will bring it back. So is this an opportunity for organizations to make the most out of Copilot, to have a look at their data, how it's structured, and is it fit for purpose, and is it the latest and the best it can be?
So when implementing Copilot, what should organizations be aware of regarding data security and compliance?
Really, it's about the importance of data quality, having your data structured in the right way. Key is, as I said, user training and adoption. Make sure the right people are evaluating, the right people are using, and they are trained on how to best get the most out of it. And unlocking a lot of that capability. Copilot's going to do this because it's going to go and look at all those various tools and interact with them. So everything in the Office suite and the Microsoft technology stack, Copilot will interact with.
It's a great point about the data, because access to data, classification, data loss, prevention policies all contribute towards ensuring that Copilot can be used properly.
Yes.
What other advice would you have for organizations or employees looking to deploy Copilot?
I think perhaps before you actually deploy anything, having a sort of readiness session to look at the way the business does things, who's doing what are the bottlenecks? If there's a process flow that always gets stuck in a certain place because somebody has to generate a lot of information, is there a case for deploying Copilot in that instance to help free up that workflow? And an opportunity to, if we could automate some of these processes or actually be more efficient, how can that affect the bottom line? If we're talking commercially, if you're talking local authorities, how can we get answers back to people in a quicker way? Everybody's working on reduced budgets. We're all feeling the squeeze. So if you can use this technology to help you be more efficient, I would say that is key. You are going to get the human element of, I've always done it this way. It's the right way and I'm not going to change. That can be a challenge, but I think if you can get the naysayers on side. But there is going to be a resistance to change, which needs to be looked at, and then getting the right people on the right sort of pilot program, getting positive people, and that can help sort of change people's minds. We're all resistant to change until you realise, blimey, this has made my life easier. And we all want an easier life. So
I think that's what we're after, is that realization that it's about making your life and your work easier, more straightforward,
yes,
rather than introducing another widget, another gadget, another thing that you have to do.
yeah, and just get used to asking it. 10 years ago, the thought of walking around your house and saying, "Hey Alexa," would have seemed very bizarre.
Yep.
But now, Alexa, turn my lights on and off. Alexa, do this. Alexa, do that. Play me a radio station or a song. You take it for granted. And I think the more people get used to utilizing this technology, the more, as I said earlier, there are use cases, but there's thousands and thousands of use cases that people haven't even thought of yet. Even the developers of the solution at Microsoft probably hadn't thought of the ways that people are going to use it. And Microsoft love to hear adoption stories. So if there is a case where there's an organization that gets introduced to Copilot and it transforms the way they do things, then the opportunity to create a case study around that and send it back to Microsoft and say, look how your technology has transformed this organization. That's great PR all the way down the line.
And Microsoft generally are always very happy to help organizations
Absolutely.
in that journey.
Absolutely.
Fast track, service credits, all the rest of it.
Absolutely,
to
yes. Yeah.
help with that journey, to help fund it in some cases. So, well, thank you very much, Ian. That's been very interesting. Your knowledge and information has been invaluable and hopefully will be to our audience.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyable. I love talking about this stuff. So anytime you need me again, I'll be happy to pop in.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Cantium Podcast in partnership with Public Sector Focus, please subscribe wherever you're listening or by visiting www.cantium.solutions.